Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And welcome back to our, monthly, month and a half, whatever it is.
Quarterly. This is
Quarterly.
our Q1 cinema test, if you will.
Q1. Well, that would have been the last one. That would have been the last one since this is volume 5. To be honest, I forgot what everyone got assigned, so I apologize. That's on me. Actually, hold on. Let me just try to go off of memory. Josh gave me Dinner America. I gave Blake Challengers. Blake gave Josh Training Day. That's what it was. So look at that.
You had 2/3 of the answers, so I it wasn't too tough.
You would think so, but Okay, who wants to go first?
Yeah, like always, I'll start us off here. So I got Challengers from Alex. Obviously, this movie came out last year, had quite a bit of hype. As you know, Zendaya was just out there Eiffel Towering and such. This movie, obviously, quick little rundown, is obviously a tennis movie. It's based on these two really good friends, Art and Josh's is the actor's name.
You remember the
Patrick Zweig, that's his name. Patrick and Art are friends. Honestly, this movie is a little weird to follow because you start out at like a tennis match that says it's like current day, and then you like get a little bit of that scene, and then you jump back. I think it's 13 or 15 years.
Damn.
And you get some of that, and then it goes back to like a tiny bit of the current day thing, and then it goes back to like 2 years from that, like 13 years ago, and you get a little bit, and then you go forward, and then it's like 3 years after that. So it's like kind of working you up from like that 13 or 15 years up to present day, all while the present day is all just like one tennis match happening. But kind of throughout it, you kind of like piece together everything in a way. It's not like you're kind of like wondering what's happening with this, but you kind of just get all the story leading up to where you are today. And basically these two guys, like, they went to a tennis academy together when they were younger. They've been friends ever since. At the youngest, I guess you kind of see them, was like right before they were high schoolers, like deciding one of them was going to go to play at Stanford and one of them was going to try to go pro in tennis. And that's when Zendaya came into the whole thing. She was a girl who was around the same age as them. She also ended up going to Stanford, the same school as one of the guys. But they played a tennis. They met with her like the night before. That's where you see the scene of her like kissing them. And then she's like, "Oh, I'll give my number to like whoever wins tomorrow." So they play each other. The one, Patrick, who's like the Josh O'Connor, I think is his name, is that guy. He ends up winning that, and he's the one who decides to go pro. So like he's kind of in a relationship with Zendaya, and then they kind of break up. So then Art kind of swoops in because Art was also trying to swoop in the whole time. And then basically it's just like Art and Zendaya kind of got married. You don't really see any of that. It's just kind of like you learn that they're married, whatever. They have a kid. I don't really know, because like I said, it wasn't like confusing, but I did feel it was a little choppy, just because like you get a little bit of the current day scene, and then all of a sudden you're hopping back like 8-ish years or so, and you get like a chunk of something, and then you're back to current, and then like it's kind of like a little, I don't know. I don't think I missed it, but you never really understand what the big breakup between the two friends was at any point. Like, you just know in present day they haven't talked in a while, and you learn that they haven't talked in a long time. And really the only thing that happened is like when Zendaya was in college, like they got in a big fight, so her boyfriend Patrick didn't come to her tennis match, and that's where she played, and she tore her, they don't even say what, you're just assuming like Achilles, or not Achilles, ACL, like that area. And so she tears in, like Art runs down to the court, and he's like with her, and then Patrick hears and he shows up, and she's like, "Get out of here." And then Art just says like, "Yeah, get out of here." And that's really honestly the only thing you see of those two having a fight. And then they just don't talk again for some reason, which is very confusing because like the beginning of this movie was pretty good. Like their bromance was fun. Gets a little more than just a bromance, to be honest. You really get the romance part. But it's like, what do you mean these dudes have been like best friends for a good amount of time, and like all of a sudden they just don't talk anymore? And like later you learn at one point that Zendaya and Patrick met up while they were married, and like they hooked up one night, and like Art knew about it. But at that point, they already weren't talking. So it's like, how did these guys just go from being like best friends to like not talking? I don't fully like. It wasn't explained in the movie really, like what the big conflict was between them. Other than that, I mean, like I said, the movie starts out pretty good, but it kind of goes downhill from there. Like I said, the storytelling is a little bit like just jumbled because you're jumping around so much. None of the characters stand out at all. They all kind of suck in one way or another. Like, none of them are anyone you're like rooting for, really. It's like Patrick's just this like cocky guy who's not getting by really well. Art is just this little simp for Zendaya who sucks. And Zendaya is just like this confusing girl who doesn't really care about anything but tennis, I guess. It's just kind of like nothing here stands out in their characters. You don't really, like I said, you don't root for any of them. And then you get to the end scene, kind of the tennis match that you're all built up for, I guess you could say, of Art and Patrick playing each other in present day. I think the last 15 minutes of this movie, Zack Snyder got to direct it, which was really cool because it feels like it's about 3 hours long, the last 15 to 10 minutes of this movie, because there is so much unnecessary slow-mo. It is painful. Like, you watch one of them get ready for his serve, like bounce the ball beforehand, like a little routine, bounce it like 5 times, and then just hold the ball, do something with it real quick, and then just stare across at his friend. No joke, that scene had to have been at least a minute and a half of that because of the slow-mo. It was like, why? And then he got a time penalty for how long it took. And then he does the whole thing again, and that actually serves this time, but it's all in slow-mo again. And it's like, so I just sat here for an hour, or a minute and a half for this routine, for him to get a time violation, to then go do this routine again, in slow-mo again. The last 10 minutes of this movie feels so long because of how much unnecessary slow-mo there is. But yeah, the build-up at the end is they finally have like the game-winning volley between the two of them. Like, there's some cool camera shots in there finally of like a little bit different. Every other tennis action you see is very standard, like camera work of tennis matches and stuff. Nothing special. Finally, there you get some kind of cooler ones. Like, there's one where the camera's like, it looks like the camera's underneath them, but you like can't see a floor, so like you see them like stepping, and it looks like they're like walking on air essentially. Like, that looked cool. There's like one scene at that where they tried to do, it was almost like, the best way to describe it was like a GoPro was attached to him, so it's like first person, but it was very choppy, and they weren't even like volleying at that point. It was like, okay, the idea was almost there, but it wasn't really anything special. And then it just has one of the stupidest endings where the match point, like they're volleying, and then they get like really close to the net, like going back and forth, and the one like jumps to spike one, and he kind of like goes over the net a little bit, and he's like, looks like he might like face plant his friend's right there, and he like catches him and hugs him on the way down, and then like Zendaya stands up and like yells, and the movie ends. And it's like, what? So yeah, this movie just, like I said, started off like, okay, this isn't too bad, and then it just nosedives. Just not good. Like I said, the acting, nothing stood out at all. The story definitely didn't stand out. Like I said, the directing was very nothing special about the tennis shots until the end where they tried to do some stuff cool. Overall, I mean, this movie was just kind of, even like from a romance kind of angle, I guess you could try to say, definitely nothing special about this little triangle at all. There's one really funny scene between the two of them, though. The two boys. That was about the only thing in the movie that I was like, that was pretty funny. That's about it.
What is it?
Well, so there's a scene, they're gonna play each other, and in the beginning where they were gonna play each other, and the one's like, oh, will you please let me win tomorrow, because Patrick is definitely better than Art. And Art's like, yo, would you mind if you let me win the thing tomorrow? And he was like, yeah, man, if it matters to you, like, I don't care. He's like, cool, like, my grandma's gonna be watching it, like, she's really excited. Like, this is when they're like kind of younger, like teens at the time. And he's like, you let me win tomorrow. He's like, okay, whatever. He's like, I don't really care. Like, sure, man. And then that night is when they meet Zendaya, and she comes back to their apartment, and that's where the scene is of them, like, she's like, oh, they kiss. Also, she backs up, just the two of them going at it a little bit, right? And so then she's like, okay, I'm going to leave. And so she leaves. They're just sitting on the bed. They have their boxers on, and he's like, so you're going to let me win tomorrow, right? And stands up, and he has a boner. And his friend's just like, no, and just slaps his boner. It got a pop out of me, because it just came out of nowhere, bro. He's like, so you're going to let me win tomorrow? You said you're going to let me win, right? And he just smacks. He's like, no, that was so long ago. It was so random. It was like, what? Other than that, man, that's the redeeming scene of this movie. So, do what you want with that information. So, overall, I gave this movie like a 4.5 out of 10. It started off looking relatively decent, and then, man, it just nosedives. Like, first quarter, not bad. 3/4. Rough.
So, my movie. Talk about some very weird start to the movie. So, Dinner in America, assigned to me by Josh. Let me just say this. This feels like a Josh movie for some reason. Take that how you will. Anyways, it starts off, and I'm gonna say probably the opposite of what you said, where the first quarter, the first third of the film for you was like better. This one was the total opposite. It felt kind of just discombobulating. It's like, what, like the title, you're being shown all the actors and everything, and it's just like it keeps cutting away, and it's just like so disorienting, and I just did not know what the fuck was going on. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know what the movie was about until the third of the way through the movie. I was just so confused. I'm like, okay, well, is this guy is just, Simon? He's dealing to get money. Don't know why for a good portion of it, and yeah, I mean, it's just a weird movie, man. Why did you assign me this?
I don't know. That would be fun.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure what Patty, like the other main lead of the movie, has. I mean, she's on the spectrum, but like you don't know exactly what she has. It's never clearly stated. She takes like meds for all throughout the week, every single day, and apparently they're like heavy doses because it like knocks Simon out for 11 hours. When he takes it after he gets beat up by those tracksuit kids. After then he goes and asks the guy that he was dealing for his truck, and I forget what he gives him for the truck. He's like, can I borrow for a day? He's like, for this you can have it for a whole week. I'm like, that's crazy work, because like I don't even know what the hell he gave him, but it was not enough to warrant a whole week of just him using the car. Whatever. Point is, he goes out, beats these guys up, grabs the dead cat that was in her yard, puts it on them, sets it on fire, and then, I mean, this is just a weird movie, man. I don't even know what to think about it. Like, genuinely, halfway through the film, because I like tapped on the screen, I was like, we're halfway through. I'm like, what the fuck what is going on right now? I thought the ending was cool. I think that like the saving grace of this movie was like towards the end, was when he goes back to his house, which you find out he's in technically a loving family on paper, but then you meet the family and they're pieces of shit. And before that, I mean, him and Patty are recording a song. They get it on. I mean, it was kind of weird, but whatever. You start seeing like the romance there kind of build up around that time, and then it like pretty much gets to that point when she begins to sing the song. And then he goes and takes her on their first date, and he plays with his band, who like sells him out for money. He goes to jail. I mean, yeah, that's essentially the movie. He meets this girl, stays at her house, finds out that it's a fan of his, been sending him pictures. And he finally tells her that, yeah, that's me, that I didn't know. And I was as shocked as you were. And then they get it on, and then the ending happens, and then he goes to jail. Then he does the same thing for her when he's in jail. So, yeah. Oh, and she beats up one of the like the bitches that were like mocking her throughout the whole film. At the very end, she's on the bus. A lot of R words thrown out there too. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, and
so that's why Josh liked it.
Yeah, well, can neither confirm nor deny. Anyways, she just socks them and tells them to fuck off, essentially. And then she gets off the bus, listens to the song that they recorded, puts on his sweaty black like ski mask. Don't ask. And then puts like a Walkman headphone over it, and then she begins to dance, and then the film ends. Yeah, I mean, it's a movie, I guess. I then proceeded to Google it. It's a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, bro. Seriously? That's crazy to me. That's crazy work because, like I said, halfway through the movie, I thought this was pretty bad. Not gonna lie, because it just kept on jumping that first quarter, and then it finally settled down, and I was like, okay, this is getting decent. I guess it's watchable. Then the ending kind of picked up, so I was like, okay, whatever, fine, and that's it. So I was like, not gonna lie, I was there, I was watching it, I was acknowledging it, but then in the back of my head, I kept thinking, why would Josh assign me this? Like, is this a joke? like, why?
Is this a joke?
But whatever. I'm not gonna hold it against Josh. The film, I'm gonna go around the same that Blake did. I'm gonna give it like a 4.5, 4, around there. Would not watch it again.
And dude, we're just doing so good today. Doing so good.
What's that mean?
Oh, it's nothing about my movie.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I was like, "Yo, what?"
You got the best movie.
The reason why I assigned you that one, Alex, was I was agreeing with you. The first third of the movie, it was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And then it was like the rest of it, I enjoyed, but it truly was just a movie.
Yeah,
I just felt like assigning you something that was weird, but it wasn't necessarily a punishment.
I mean, no, like it wasn't terrible.
A different movie.
It's just different. Yeah, it's just different. Like that
And
first
also,
third just threw it all
popular.
off.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because that song, it was like got popular on TikTok.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did not.
She's
Did not
the
recognize
artist
it.
that sings it.
Oh, she's an actual
What
artist.
song is it?
So
Yeah.
she sang it.
So that's her actual song.
Oh,
But
damn.
she's singing it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit.
So it's just a wild ass movie. And then also I saw that after seeing Smile 2, and obviously he's in that.
Yeah,
So
that I
was
did.
just-
I recognized him immediately from Smile, but
Yeah, he
I
knows
was
how
just
to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay. My movie was Training Day. Just barely made the cut for Blake because it came out in 2001. This film, listen, like, he came at my sweet spot. I got two things when it comes to movies. Whether it's a good sci-fi movie, I'm a sucker for it. Even if it's shitty, might even like it. Unless if you're 2001 Space Odyssey. And then the other one is detective films. Anything that's detective, that verge of just gritty cop, it gets me. Why? I don't know. It really does. And that is Training Day for sure. With Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. This film kind of starts off where you're just thinking that Denzel, Alonzo is his name, he's just going to kind of be like this dude that is just, he's going to be the bad cop and Ethan Hawke's going to be the good cop. Ethan's name ended with something with a K-E. We'll say
Blake.
Wasn't Blake. Maybe Jake. Okay, that one sounds good enough. Listen, I saw it immediately after we assigned it on this video, so just be proud of me. I remembered Alonzo. Okay, film goes in. Jake. He's chilling. He's got a family. He really wants his job, and then Alonzo's just kind of being a dickhead and is really intense right off the bat. Stops in the middle of a 4-lane intersection. It's just a lot of crazy shit, and forces him to get high off his mind, do a bunch of drugs, and then you meet this other guy, Roger. I think it's Roger, where he's super chill, and I don't know the actor's name, but I have seen him plenty times in movies or shows, mainly shows, where when you see him, he always just kind of plays this like gritty old guy that just has that kind of like swagger to him, that he just is chill with everybody, somehow has a bunch of money, and could low-key fuck you up. Okay? And so they have a fun little talk while he's high. And the reason why I'm even mentioning this is because it ends up being that Roger is a heist. And this turns into a heist film, basically, where they rob Roger and they force Jake, with a bunch of other cops and detectives that Alonzo has, to rob this guy that you were first, when he got introduced to him just being like a buddy and kind of like an informant for Alonzo. And then you end up finding out he has millions. He has like, I think it was like $5+ million just in his house. And they do a heist and they rob him. And then they try to force Jake to kill him, to kind of force him to basically be joined in the gang and have some dirt on him. And of course, Jake is a goody cop and he doesn't want to do it. And that's where the first kind of tension forms. And as the film keeps going, they escape out of this. Jake kind of just like, man, you're fucked up. But, he's not going to say anything. And you kind of think that's the end of it. And then a setup happens where Alonzo basically tries to get Jake killed. And Jake kind of quickly forms and connects the dots so that he realizes he gets played. And it has this kind of really interesting like scene that he goes into like a Mexican gang's house, and once again it kind of just seems like Alonzo is just talking to one of his informants again because he's a dirty cop. So Jake is cool, but he's obviously super nervous because it's his like first fucking day. That's why it's training day, and he's gotten high. He has robbed somebody, and then now he's in the deep shit at a Mexican gang's house right now, surrounded with dudes that are one high, having like prostitutes going at it and guns. And it's just fucking Ethan Hawke, the white boy in a corner, just trying to act cool. Either way, Alonzo disappears, and then they play poker, and these guys kind of like joist at him and just say, hey man, what kind of gun do you have? And Jake reluctantly doesn't want to tell him. And eventually they keep going at him. And eventually they get their hands on his gun and start inspecting it, playing around. And then they point at him and say basically nothing personal. And this is where you find out fully that Alonzo has betrayed Jake. And Jake's going to fucking die. And they tie him up. They're about to fucking gut him in a bathtub. Until a phone call basically happens where you find out way earlier in the movie, Jake saves this girl from getting raped, which was an interesting scene. And all because he saved this girl, you find out that she's actually cousins with the dude that's about to gut him. And that's the whole reason why he gets saved, is because he talks to her, finds out that she was about to have that happen, and then a white boy saved her, and that white boy was Jake in the bathtub, tied up, and about to be gagged to kill to death. He gets saved. They're like, okay, we're even. We're not going to fucking kill you. Nothing personal. He leaves. And then it turns into basically a hunting mission to find Alonzo to fucking kill him. This is kind of where the film is like, really, there's a lot of plots going on. And this is like where it's getting just a little bit too much, because the reason why Alonzo needed the money was because the Russian mob was after him because he did something in Vegas. It was a bit much, I will say. Either way, that's what happened. And so he has to meet up with a Russian mob and pay the money, which is the reason why he robbed Roger and set up Jake because he needed a quick crew and somebody to blame and basically kill off, and everything gets blamed on Jake while Alonzo gets escaped from the mafia. And
Yes.
okay. I'll keep going. So Jake's now hunting Alonzo, and Alonzo is at his crib getting one last freak off with his side chick, which ends up being Ava Mendez, and has a kid in there too. And Jake uses the kid because Jake was hanging out with the kid because they met earlier, and he was like playing like games and shit with him, and uses the kid to get in. And then they have a shootout, and because Alonzo just had to have one last freak off, ends up leading to his demise. And they have this big shooting, and now they're in like the heart of another gangland again. So Jake once again is in this awkward scenario, but Alonzo is kind of just a narcissistic piece of shit. Thinks that the gang will still kind of listen to him. I mean, he kind of like almost pimps out the gang, if we're being honest. And finally, they kind of had it with him, and the gang kills him. Well, they don't kill him, but they basically point their guns at him and let Jake leave. Weird fight. Jake doesn't kill him because he like kind of doesn't want to, but he does. And then the gang, for some reason, I don't remember why they don't kill him, but they just kind of don't. They just like all leave him. It's really weird. You thought it was going to be a cool scene where just these guys just fucking cap him right there. They don't. And instead, Alonzo gets in the car, leaves, and then he gets assassinated by some Russians. And that's the movie. It's a good movie. It really is. Just a lot of plots. A lot of plots going on for the film. I do think it was a fun reveal of realizing that this wasn't just a normal bad cop, that he's just a piece of shit human being that just actually has no values in life, and everything he's been saying is just bullshit the entire film. Jake was an awesome character. Ethan Hawke was genuinely very good in this movie. So, and of course Denzel, he's awesome. So he's amazing. So acting was just amazing, and ending, I guess, was satisfying. You know, I think I really rather the Russians not killed him. Honestly, I could have like done without the Russians and it just been like, oh, he just wanted the money, because they really didn't explain too much what he did in Vegas, and it was just a subplot that was kind of unnecessary. Because you meet a bunch of random rich, like superintendents, shit like that. Is this like gang of obviously higher guys up in the police force and like the government, and they know he fucked up. It was kind of just weird console, but you only meet them in one scene. It's like 10 minutes. You never see those guys again. It really was kind of unnecessary. But with that being said, though, I really liked it. Gave it an 8.4 out of 10, so definitely was up there. I was actually surprised to see that I'm higher than what the reviews are for this movie. I assumed this would be a really highly reviewed movie, and when I looked it up,
I thought it was
when I first looked it up, it was in the 70s. So I thought that was kind of crazy because it's an early 2000s with prime Denzel and also upcoming Ethan Hawke. Like, I think that would do numbers. But yeah, it was pretty good. There's not too much bad to say. I just think, maybe there's a little less plots in there. It would have been even higher rated, I think.
And if you somehow made it to this point in the video, unfortunately, the files got corrupted while we were recording as we had internet issues at night. So for the next month's video, the movie assignment went Josh gave me Fruitville Station, potentially is what the name of it is. I gave Alex Twisters, and Alex gave Josh Enemy. So that will do it for this episode, unfortunately, as we do not have the rest of it. So as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.